Hello everyone, myself Arundhati Kar. Today we are back with yet another virtual session. Among us today we are having Dr. M. Jaypal, who is an yoga and naturopathy consultant along with an expert in mind-body medicine. He has conducted many stress management and anger management programs for many corporates such as Cognizant and TCS to name a few. He has organized mind-body medicine workshop for school students at VEL group of institution. He has completed his UG course. He has completed his UG course from Government of Chennai Government of Yoga and Naturopathy College. He has trained many yoga instructors on advanced yoga therapy and philosophies and worked as yoga and naturopathy consultant at ALM Ayush Hospital and treated many infertility couples in natural ways. He is also a national champion and a South Indian champion during his school days. Currently, he is doing research on Tamil classic yogic texts such as Tiruvan- Tirumandiram and Tiruvattappu. It's a great pleasure to have you among us, sir. I welcome you on behalf of the OYG team.
Okay, so thank you, Arundhati. So hope you all good here. And myself, Dr. Jayapal, hope she gave some good interaction to me. Without any delay, we can enter into the main session of today's topic. So today's topic is the mind matrix of yoga. So the mind matrix is like the very unexplored content, or might be it is only a theory part. So as far as whether yoga field or naturopathy field or any doctors who are into yoga and spirituality, all these things, the very unexplored part of yoga right now is the mind part. So we have moved in advance in any asanas and all physical things, their physiology, their anatomy, and how it works, and all these things. And there is also some other aspects, the mind aspect especially, so that is very important. Any disease or any functions or any kind of disformities have to happen in physical. First is it has to happen in the mind. So we know that the concept of Adi and Vyadi. Anything that has to be manifested in the materialistic world has to be first manifested in the mental world. So anything you have to create or anything you have to say, the first thing it is happening in your mind, then it is materialized into a physical action or physical form. So this is how the manifestation happens both in the nature and also in us. So this is the basic thing. So we have to give more importance to the mind matrix as we give to anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry, all these things. Because all these things are very closely connected with the functions of the mind. So which is now developed into psychoneuroimmunology, a kind of mind-body medicine, all these things coming into this field right now. So first we have to see what are the essential things in the mind. So first we have to see what are the philosophies in various traditions given about the mind and also the modern thing. So let us see. Basically, in modern medicine or psychiatry, they'll be putting in four sections. That is conscious mind, subconscious mind, and unconscious and superconscious mind. In even in yoga, in kind of yogic tradition, we'll be having this thing. That is Jagrat, Swapna, and Sushupti and Turiya. So this is also states of consciousness and states of also sleep. It is also considered. And also in kind of Siddha tradition, we are also having this one. That is in Tamil they used to say Urakam. Sorry, it will be like Ninavu, Kanavu, Urakam, and Pedurakam. So all these four things are basically saying the same phenomenon. So that is the conscious thing is like the thing what you're doing right now consciously with your awareness. The subconscious thing is like it is like a very programmed one, so it's like a habitual thing. And the other thing and the unconscious thing is the place where you get all these kind of ESPs and super mind powers, all these things. And the unconscious thing is the place where the samadhi and all these higher spiritual things are happening. So these are the basic structures we can see in all these both modern and yogic, all these. So we have been aware of these states, and we have to understand how the mind functions in different areas. That is very important here. So understand anything. Okay. So the mind is how vital is because as per Panchakosas, this is Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. So the Manomaya is the bit between in between this kind of physical manifestation and mental manifestation. So mind is the bridge between this kind of material and the immaterial, the thing which is called the infinity or the absolute thing we call. Okay. So we have to understand how the mind is functioning in our body and as well as in the universe. Only then we can go into how deeper it's important to handle in case of any diseases or any kind of disorders. Okay. So we'll go into it. So basically, if anything were to happen in this universe, both in the nature, both in the mind, it is happening through the mind. For example, in astrology, they used to say some planets are deciding your mind factors, some planets are deciding your physical function, all these. And if it has to function, for example, if Shani is there, they'll be saying it's a bad time. If Shukra is there, it's a good time. Actually, there is no bad time or good time. It is your mind, the perception which is changed during that period. So if the planet has to influence you, it has to be influenced in your mind first of all. It has to change its perception. So the universe is same, the happening is same, but the way you perceive is totally different. Same way when it is like the Shukra period, same thing is happening. The same thing will happen, but you see it as a happy way. The perceptions change. So even the planet has to influence you. It has to influence your mind. Okay. Then let's also come to some psychic and occultic part. Even if you have to do some black magic, you have to put some evil. It has to come in your mind first of all. You'll be saying he was nice first. He's changed his behavior. It's somewhat kind of behavior changes and attitude changes. It is like also happening in the mind first. Only then it is manifested in the physical. Even if someone has to meditate you, it has to be first inserted in your mind. Even the God has to help you. Even the God has to help you. The God won't come down for you. He will only give the wisdom through which you can handle those situations. He will just open up your awareness. He won't come down. He will just give your awareness. So mind is the medium through which the whole entire nature, the any positive or negative things, it has to come into mind first. Then it is getting manifested. So first understand these things. Okay. So as I said, we have to see these levels of consciousness, like as I said, conscious, subconscious, and unconscious and superconscious. All these things you have to see this as a rooms through which your mind is, that is your conscious is moving. So that is not your mind. You have to understand one thing is that the mind is like a universal phenomenon. It is just changing its form according to the nature, according to the situation where it is. So this is subconscious mind is not the subconscious mind. It is the place where mind behaves in a certain way. The conscious mind is not the place of the mind. Mind has no locations. So some will be saying the mind is here, some will be saying the mind is in the heart, some will be saying the mind is in the navel. So each tradition has its own belief system, which is not scientifically proven, but it is kind of personal experience on. So if you are more kind of emotional person, your soul will be like your mind will be more located in the heart chakra. If you're more kind of intellectual person, your mind function will be more intense in your third eye chakra. So if you're more kind of physical person, your fourth centered, it will be in your navel chakra. So it depends upon the person. So mind is everywhere. Mind is functioning even in this chair, even in my body. But the level of consciousness in the atoms and the physical body is totally different. Your mind is getting more refined when your intelligence and prana is getting more refined. So you have to understand that these are the rooms, different rooms of the mind. Mind is like a house. So these are the different rooms of the mind. Okay. So first understanding. So what are the limbs of the mind? The mind has to move, right? The limbs of the mind, usually they'll be saying the five jnanendriyas and five karmendriyas in the yogic terms, which is your five senses and your five intelligence of those senses. So these five things they'll be saying the tools of the mind. I will just compile all these things into four limbs of your mind. So if your body has to move, your hands is moving. One thing, the other thing is your leg is moving. So like way, if your mind has to function, it will be functioning in these four ways only. These four ways are for any thought, any emotion, whatever you say, these four things will be available. The first thing I have, it's a kind of classical terms. I want to make it very simple and so that everyone can understand in English. The first one is the intellect mind. Okay, sorry, intelligence. Then the intellect. Then comes the samskara. Then comes the chitta. So it's kind of these four things. I will explain everything one by one. So I just made and compiled a version of these things. So every text has its own explanation, but whatever is the core text, I have just put it in as these four zones. So first is the intelligence body. So intelligence body is the thing, the body of the mind, that is the one limb of the mind, which functions with a time zone with your memories. That is, it will be either in the past, either in the future, or in the present. So it is about more about memories and more about related with the time. So if you have to think, you're thinking itself whether you'll be thinking about the past, either thinking about the future, or you're thinking just be in the present. So these are the functions of the intellect mind. And then, sorry, intelligence mind. Then comes the intellect, where you'll be just segregating your likes and dislikes. So I like this, I don't like this polarity. Is good and bad, happiness and sorrow, all these polarities is in this zone. That is the intellect zone. And then comes the samskara body, which is where the place your habitual things are getting, it's the place where your karma is getting accumulated. The habitual things like riding a cycle, walking to your house, all these things are programmed, right? Some things are which are programmed, which is like a routine. So all these things are taken part here in the samskara. Samskara means the routine, the loop, which is infinite and it is continuous loop. So this is samskara body. And last comes the chitta body. So this is the place where extreme emotions are getting stored, and it is the place where it is getting rooted up. So it can be extreme anger or extreme love or any extreme emotions, any kind of chaos or disaster. All these things are happening because of this chitta. So we have segregated into this four portion. So intelligence, intellect, then the samskara and the chitta. So samskara you can take it as a habitual mind. Chitta you can take it as the unconscious mind, okay, the last zones of the mind. So any thought which is happening in your mind should have these zones. Either it will be more related to the time, or it will be dealing with the likes and dislikes, or it will be dealing with your routine, and it will be dealing with the chitta. So for example, I'm going to explain this with an example so that you can understand how it functions. So if you are planning to wake up at early morning, for example 5 a.m., yes, doing yoga at early morning is very important, it is healthy, all these things, and these things are provided by your intellect body. So that likes and dislikes, all these things, it knows what is good for you, it is bad for you, it will be programming that thing. Okay, so when you're putting the alarm and you're trying to wake up, you're not waking up, your body will say, okay, no problem, just we'll postpone tomorrow. So that is said by a samskara, which is the routine thing you're doing, because it is always wanting to sleep. Okay, then after waking up, you'll be giving some hatred. Oh my God, I'm not able to do yoga. I'm daily putting alarm and just not waking up. I know it's good for me, but I'm not doing it. You'll be having the clash within yourself. So, which is the planning thing is the intellect body. The thing which made you sleep is your samskara body, and the thing which is making a fight clash is your intelligence body, which is related to the time. So, if you do like this, you're not going to get healthy. Your health will be spoiled. All these things, it will be like in past and future, it will be calculated. So it is, you are thinking that it is the one self which is doing all these things. No, so these are different aspects of the mind which is doing all this. And one point you'll be doing routine the same thing. That is, you'll be planning for waking up morning. You'll be failing to wake up, and again you'll be giving a hatred towards yourself. And one fine day you'll be getting more anger, and you'll be just throwing your phone, and you will be hitting yourself. I'm not. I hate my life. I don't like myself. I just want to kill. Just simply for these things, I want. They'll be, your mind will be saying, kill yourself, go and die. Any extreme emotion is done by the chitta. So you have to understand. Any simple things will be happening. All these extreme emotion, either killing or raping or any kind of suicidal things, is done by this stupid chitta. So this is the place where we have to focus more, because yoga is all about yoga, chitta, vritti, nirodha, right? So chitta is all about the thing what I am saying this thing. So this is actually ruling all these things. These three guys will be fighting with one another. So chitta is the gangster among all these. So he's the gangster, and he's the other. All these three are like their gang members. So he's the person who can order all these things. So when all the three are fighting, he will just simply say, "Go and kill him. Go and die. Go and hit." So any extreme emotions, it's done by the chitta. So yoga is all about going to this deepest thing, what I said, the deepest limb of this mind. So these four things will be always connected in any thought, any thinking you see, it will be based on all these things. So these things will be working in a certain pattern in the conscious mind. In conscious mind, mostly this intellect and intellectual body will be functioning. When you're coming to subconscious mind, your samskara and chitta will play. So samskara, what I said is subconscious is all about making a routine. So you are just learning the cycle and learning any kind of gadgetic instrumentation. You are learning from the conscious mind first. When after doing all these things, it is transferred to the permanent memory. That is your routine, where I send the samskaras. Then coming to here, we are having this thing called chitta. So in subconscious mind, these things are happening. When you come to the unconscious or subconscious, it will be purely with your chitta. So chitta consists the extreme emotions which you have collected in this birth and also in the previous birth. The extreme emotion of any feeling is done by this chitta. So you have to understand that your mind is functioning with these four limbs: intellect, intellectual, samskara, and chitta, and it's happening in different zone. As I said, your mind is like a room, and these conscious, subconscious, and all these things are like the it's a house, it's a room. Okay. So what we have to understand is that we have other three things called the three gunas in yoga. That is Rajas, Sattvas, Tamas. So we have to understand what are these aspects. So these are the aspects of the mind. So through which you express yourself, through which your nature is coming out, is putting into three patterns. Either you'll express in a Rajasic way, either you can express in a Tamasic way, either you can do it in a Sattvic. For example, if someone is hitting you, you can either in turn you can go and hit the person, or you can just stay numb instead of not bothering. If he kicks also, you are not bothered. So that is the tamas. The sattva is taking the conscious action, either to move away, or either you can just take some conscious action towards that. So these are three things of expression through which your mind is expressing itself with all these limbs, what I said. Okay. So let me come to the theoretical part, sorry, the therapeutic part. So you have to understand all these things. So if you are taking any meditation, if you are taking any kind of pranayama, if you are doing some asana, we are having some set of indication and contraindication for those asanas, right? So even we have to work it out for the meditation or any kind of mind techniques. So which part of your mind is going to work? The failure of many meditation technique, the failure of many relaxation yogic technique in nowadays is just because of not understanding the mind. You cannot go for an advanced asana without doing any warm up, without doing any joint exercises and any sukshma vyayama. Okay. The same way your mind is also like that. What people do nowadays, the great mistake is that they directly go and handle with the chitta. See, what I said is it's like a gangster. You cannot go directly hit chitta. You might have seen some people be saying that I just get headache while I doing meditation. I was actually fine. I get more stressed only after doing meditation. They'll be saying all these things. It's because they will go handling the chitta directly. Even the people nowadays are not going step by steps of meditation and the levels of consciousness where you can handle the first intellect, I mean the intelligence first, then slowly coming back to the chitta. So handling with the chitta is a very toughest thing you can do. So this is the place we get the more importance of the yama and niyama. Whatever asanas you do, whatever pranayamas you do, whatever scientific technique you do, without yamas and niyamas, you cannot even move inch in the patient's development or the individual development, because we people are more focused on these kind of physical aspects, and we lost the things, the yamas and niyamas, which are going to rule this intellect, intelligence, and samskara, all these. So, for example, if I say in yama niyama, there is something called speaking the truth. Actually, we have just learned what is speaking the truth, but we never know what is the power of truth. If one person is speaking the truth and making it a habit, making it a samskara, if he keep on speaking the truth, he will attain one power, that is, if anyone is coming in front of him, speaking some lies, he can find out. Or if something is going, what I can say, if someone is trying to manipulate him, if his aura will be connected with that habit of truth. So if one is coming and trying to manipulate him, saying some lies, he cannot say lies, he will say the truth. You might have seen some many monks and many yogis, they'll be like, they'll be planning to kill him, they'll be planning to just insult them. Once after reaching them, they will forget everything, their mind will be collapsed, they will be getting into their aura. Same way in case of non-violence. If you are practicing non-violence throughout your body and making it as a habit and routine, if some person is trying to kill you, some person want to hate you, if they come in front of you, they will just leave their thought. So that is the power of it. So all these kind of yamas and yamas have their individual power. It's like a superpower. So once you have attained all these things, you can handle these four sets of mind very easily. Since we are ignoring this yama and niyama part, and also the basic disciplines which has to be rooted up along with the yoga. So whatever asanas, even you do asana, you won't be getting bored. So asana is not only about maintaining your physical posture. Know that. So we have to go more deep into it. Asana is also about putting your mind in a certain pattern. For example, in those days, if you see the classical Hatha Yoga Prajatika, every asana also has its own power. Even still, we don't know how to put a Padmasana, just we cross the leg and we're just sitting there erect. So it is not the science, exact science. It is because you are not aware of the mind. You'll be sitting the Padmasana very difficultly. After half an hour, you'll be getting pain in your knees and in your thighs. That is because you're not handling your mind properly. You'll be fighting their own body. Even single Bhatmasana, we cannot do it properly today and not gaining the benefit. So let me just break down some secrets of Bhatmasana so that you can put your mind and consciousness in the practice so that you can gain the full practice of Bhatmasana. You might have seen that we have what I can say. Most of the ancient saints and yogis, they have practiced only few asanas, not all the asanas, making a body like all these things, all things that they take very simple asanas in simple practice and attain enlightenment. We have thinking that to attain enlightenment or to attain such state, we need some advanced technique, we need some hardware technique like that. So it is not that way. We have to make a very simple practice. The secret is all about the repetition. The repetition is all about the secret. So the same way, when you keep on putting Batmasana, you are crossing your left and right brain. Actually, when you're crossing your hands, when you're crossing your legs, you know that your body is governed by the left and right brain. So when you're crossing like this, so what is the secret of the lotus pose? The lotus pose is all about. So when you see the lotus, it is like floating along with this leaf on the surface of the water. So why the yogis have given this pose as a lotus pose? Because if you do the Padmasana with proper weight balancing, that is your whole weight should come down. It is getting rooted up in your tailbone, and the gravity becomes zero. That is giving a full weight down to the ground. So once your gravity is, that is like you are not going to sit erect like this. When you sit relaxed, your full weight is going down, touching the tailbone. That's the gravity. You're also moving the anti-gravity, which is moving towards the spine, which is giving the weight to the body. So when these two things getting in the threshold of zero, your body starts to float. So that is the way the perfect Padmasana is attained. You might have seen, for example, Mahavatar Babaji or Buddha and some kind of saints. Their kind of body will be floating just a few inches above the floor. So it is same like the lotus pose. Also, it's the same way. It is floating on the body, having its stem at the root of the ground. Same way, the yogi will be floating when he is putting proper Batmasan and when he has attained the proper alignment of the Batmasan, his body will be floating. Where is the weight? What I said, the energy will be elevating him when the gravity becomes zero from the ground. So this is what the proper Batmasan is all about. So what we have practicing is just a physical Batmasan, not connecting the mind. When the mind is also putting its weight down to the Muladhara chakra, your body will elevate. So this is how it functions. So application of the mind in every practice. What I said is every posture, every asana is also not about, it's not only about a physical posture, it is also about the mental posture you're holding in that asana. That is why we are having all these kinds of concentrate on this area when you're practicing that. Put your mind here, put your focus here in certain chakra, certain part of your body. So we'll be dealing all these four segments of the mind. So this helps you to break down your mind. So meditation is not only about just sitting simply and just watching your thoughts or doing some kind of energy technique, taking energy up and down, rotation, all this. Your each move is a meditation. Your each opportunity in life is an essence through which you can practice your mind, make your mind a master. So any kind of mental exercises you're doing, see through that which part you're going to work. So always go more with the yamas and niyamas initially. That is more vital here, which is the more ignored part in yoga. Since we can see many variations in asanas, various in the posters, various in the costume they're posting on Instagram. All these things are fine, but that is not only yoga. We have to understand that it is not about moving your body and flexing it in a certain way. It's all about connecting the energy to which you can connect to the nature. So doing a mountain pose or any nature posture you're doing, you're actually getting the qualities of the nature. When you're doing Garudasana, you're getting the qualities of the Garuda inside you, because this body DNA is connected to everything. So performing certain asana, you have to cultivate certain bhava, through which slowly you can go into the meditation, dharana, dhyana. So people are directly going to dharana and dhyana, they are not getting the fruit. So what people will be saying that they'll be not guided by proper instructions, or they will be going to some advanced technique, directly going for kundalini raising, third eye opening, all these things. You can get whatever experience you want, but whatever experience you're getting is going to just the play of the mind. The intellect will be saying something. For example, most people are not having their own experience with their mind. Whatever they're experiencing, just interpretation of the book, what they have read, or just an interpretation of the YouTube videos by the any sadhus or swamis or any yoga gurus. They are not having their own experience. Until unless you are having their own experience, you cannot understand the concepts what they are saying. So that's why people keep on changing the yoga teachers, keep on changing the yoga schools, keep on changing yoga technique, because however you change, it's a play of intellect and intelligence. So for example, you're meditating, you're getting some good experience. Okay. So you're not enjoying that good experience. You're not in the present moment to enjoy this good experience. You are just want to compare your experience with your senior, compare your experience with some text, compare this experience with some other thing, which is basically the work of your mind. So meditation is all about shutting all these things. That is Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodhaha. But what you're doing is that controversy, the counter opposite. This is what happening in all the yoga schools right now, all the meditation practice right now. They just don't want to make their experiences more simple. They want to just elaborate and make it more theoretic. So what I can say is that application of these concepts, what I said, that is understanding your intellect body, intelligence body, samskara and chitta. Why I'm saying again and again is that whenever next, for example, you are facing any emotions, you have to decode your mind. You have to what I can say, deorganize or any kind of dismantle your mind. Yeah, this is the correct word. Dismantle your mind so that you can understand yourself. If you're getting any fear, for example, if you're fear of darkness, you're having some phobias, instead of chanting Rama, Krishna, Jesus, or Allah, you just want to understand which part of your mind is creating this fear. That is your awareness. So ultimate, the key for handling your mind, the key for handling all these chaos is like the awareness. Awareness is the key. So whenever you are getting some fear, so instead of what I say, instead of chanting any God's name, just try to understand why the fear is coming. So once you understand the negativity, you can understand the positive. No need to create some artificial positivity. If you're feeling some kind of nervousness, try to understand your nervousness. Don't try. What I can say is that some people will be saying some positive affirmation. Some people will be saying stay positive. Okay, all is good. That is different part. That is the secondary thing. First thing, you have to understand why you are feared, or at least you have to understand and what I can say, dismantle your mind even after that chanting. For example, if I'm fear, I'm just saying Hare Krishna, save me. Okay, fine. I'm right now I'm fine now. But again, the fear is coming, and again chanting Hare Krishna. That is not going to help you out. That is not going to help you out, because it is like an escapism. You have to accept your mind, accept your emotion. Only then you can come over, or you can come out of that. Anything that which is lacking you is the samskara mind, which is the routine. So you have to understand anything which makes you in the comfort zone, anything which makes you okay, don't try this, just do this. If it's doing like that, it is like it is in the comfort zone. It is a samskara mind. Never obey that. If some things keep on over analyzing the good or bad, it is your intellect mind. Something is always in the past or always in the future, that is your intellect. So some emotion, strong emotion is coming outside of your or inside of your mind. It is a chitta. So you have to just raise your awareness. I'm not saying these all are negative aspects of the mind. So this is how we are using our mind actually. So once you have raised your awareness all about these things, so understanding your mind is more important than changing it or converting it. So that is very important. You have to understand that. The first thing is all about knowing. It's not about changing. So what we have to do is that once the fear is coming, try to analyze that. If you're not able to analyze or not in that emotion to analyze it, so after saying Hare Krishna or any kind of God names or whatever things you want to do as a positive emotion, after doing that, come sit, just watch yourself. why it's happening, why I'm anger, why I'm fear. You have to analyze that which part of this mind is doing all this. So when you have achieved this thing, your behavior will be changed. That is the real aspect of yoga. So I have seen so many monks and so many yoga teachers. They'll be speaking all these yoga sutras, Shiva Shankita, all these things in the stage or in front of the camera. What they treat their students, their families really worse, which is just opposite to what they are teaching. So these things happening very widely right now. So whatever the YouTubers or all these things, what they're speaking, it is just for the speech. It is just for the name and fame, just the intellectual, that wow factor. If you go and see their life, they won't be implementing all that. It is because they are not interested to work. Everyone is wanted to teach. And before teaching, you just have to apply yourself. Then only all the practices of yoga will be bringing some change in a society, bringing some change in our family, bringing some change all over the world. So we have all these beautiful texts, all these classical texts only in our mouth, only in our mind, only in our text. It is not in the practice because we have not understand the aspects of the mind and we are not ready to evolve above all these four dimensions what I said. So it is very important to just undergo all these things. So next time, whatever emotions you are facing, just try to analyze it. So it is like all about if you have to achieve one asana, if you cannot directly do sarasasana. Some basic asanas you have to do, then achieve the sarasasana. Same way, you cannot directly achieve the Zen state, that zero state or the enlightened state. It's all about handling your daily situations. Your daily situations is like a playground for your practice. So you are doing asanas in the yoga hall. For your mind, this whole world is the field. So anyone provoking your emotion or anyone provoking your ego, you have to understand yourself what is happening here. So all diseases, what I said, it can be diabetes, it can be hypertension, all these things are just because of their lifestyle, what I can say, poor lifestyle. So why is the poor lifestyle? Because they have poor mind pattern. They won't be eating properly on time. They'll be don't have any kind of good diet pattern or any kind of physical activity. They'll be stuck in the samskara. They'll be being lazy. They won't be ready to come out of the comfort zone. And some people will be cultivating self-hatred and self-test because of fighting of this kind of samskara and the intellect body. The samskara will be doing the routine same. Intellect want to do something new. But sometimes when these two are clashing, this intellect body always giving some fear. Okay, this is gone, this is gone. So all these are plays of mind. So you have to understand this play, come out of this play. So there is some fourth guna called the nirguna. What I said, the sattva, tamas, and rajas. The fourth state is called the nirguna, where you're not disturbed by any thoughts, where the external stimulation is not influencing you or making a conscious choice. So make use of these four dimensions and understand it. Make them in the way you be the master. So if any emotions or any kind of things are coming, take it as a practice. If someone is scolding, take it as a practice. So this is how you work. So when you do these things with the help of the yamas and niyamas, very simple asanas will give you very good benefits. The indications, what is said in the asanas, either in the classical text or the modern text, you'll be getting more benefited about it. So see through that, awareness is the key for controlling your mind. So you have to understand which part of the mind is uh, like sometimes it will be a combination of all these three. So some extreme emotions are coming, alert your chitta. Put your awareness there, it will come down. So the thing is that you don't have to control your mind. First know that. You don't have to control your mind. You just be aware what's happening. The mind itself will come down. So if you want to ride a car, you have to know what is steering, what the brake, and what is all the things which is in the car, which is making it to move. So same way, you have to understand your mind, which aspect of the mind is working in which way, and so that you can make your move perfectly with your full control. So you have to understand this. Mind is also a shoot, the Maya of the soul. Okay, this physical body is not yourself. Nobody has ever seen a human being. You are just seeing the flesh. The human being is inside here, who is functioning, making his hands move, making this hair move, all these things, what we are making my head move. All these things are happening because of the self, the true self, which no one ever seen. If one is seen, he will be enlightened. So that is the thing here, the yogic aspect. In daily life, see through that which is working or which is moving you. So make a journal because mind we cannot see through it, we cannot keep on observing. So make a journal. So which emotion or which part of your mind is dominating you? You can take some kind of mean yogic practice such as vipassana. You can do the Buddhist meditation, which brings the mindfulness practice in your thoughts and body, all these things. And there are also many techniques like levels of technique through which you can master this four body and go beyond this, what I can say, nirguna, that is the tamas, sattvas, rajas. You're going beyond all these three gunas. You're not either active nor passive, not the sattva. You're going beyond this guna. That is the place where you're getting enlightened, all these things. Anyhow, that is not right now important. Right now, we have to just try to know handle the things what we're having right now. So that's it. I finished, I think so. You can ask anything because the same thing I'll be repeating if I keep on saying some various examples.
It was an impressive session, sir. So we have few questions.
Yeah.
So the first question, it's like, sir, how do you this yoga, this mind manifestation, how does it helps in the teaching yoga to the patient?
Okay. So first thing, we have to focus what's the which kosha of the patient is affected. So you have to don't directly go for reports at this. So just basically when you see, so just when you consult a patient or a student, just look at him which kosha of the person is affected more. Okay. So we have many diagnosis, kind of high elemental diagnosis, all these things. So how putting the mind, the practice is going to help is a very key role in the application of yoga therapy or all this. For example, if a patient is doing yoga, so the key element of awareness is your breathing. So any practice he is doing, try to put him in the breathing so that his mind is not going past or future. So whenever he's doing some asanas, his mind will be thinking something else. It won't be here rooted here. So the more your mind is rooted here in the practice, his mind is aligned with the physical posture. The mind is getting aligned with the physical posture, through which you can the complete essence of that asana can be achieved. Either it can be any simple asanas or breathing practice or meditation. The thing is that you see through that he'll be complaining, ma'am, I cannot concentrate. My mind is going either past or future. Okay, you have to analyze. Okay, the intellect bodies are the intelligence bodies like working more. So work on that. So where you have to, for example, for that kind of mind, you should go with the present moment meditation, the present moment practice, the mindful practice. Okay, if the person is thinking more about the likes and dislikes, something he'll be when I start to meditate, when I do practice, only while doing yoga practice, he'll be getting all these things. That is because only while doing yoga, his mind is getting freed. So the dust inside is coming out, the toxins inside is coming out only when he's practicing. So when you have to find out the likes and dislikes he's fighting with all these things. It is the intellect one. You can go here with the uh, some practice there is called the middle path practice, where you're treating the both good and bad as one thing. So it is a lesson. Ultimately, it is an experience. It's kind of optimistic approach here. You can go with kind of more counseling here. Whereas it is coming with that. So if it is with a samskara body, those people will be most kind of lazy. They won't be coming out of any routine. They won't be on time. There won't be any discipline. They'll be connected with their own sorts of habits and routines. They'll be in their comfort zone. So you have to see through that which aspect of their thing is affecting them. For example, if they are diabetic or any kind of disease you are notifying, so which aspect of their mind is influencing them more? Some for most of the people, actually, the chitta is the thing which brings the extreme emotions. So we have to work in chitta. You have to go more kind of what I can say, the who am I meditation, like this, all these things. So there are different aspects of meditation: energy-based meditation, self-realization oriented meditation, and one meditation you can go with analyzing yourself. That is kind of mm, you'll be orienting and dismantling your mind like this. So application of your mind, you have to see which aspects of the mind is affected more. For example, poor routine will be a cause for their diseases. That is a samskara body. They'll be having poor diet routine, poor physical routine. You have to break down that so that you can get some good results. So hope I'm clear.
Yes, sir. Sir, the next question is kind like, sir, people have different perception regarding mind, regarding their lifestyle and the place they
Yeah,
stay in.
yeah,
So, sir,
yeah,
how do you like to explaining to Indian people? It's kind of easy this chitta concept, samskara concept, but when we try to explain it to the outer world, like the Western countries, so
yeah,
how do we approach them, sir, to explain this kind of concept?
yeah. Actually, I myself dealing more with only with Westerners. To be frank, they are more intelligent in their Indian knowledge of this mind, all these concepts than the Indians. So what they have to need is that we have to, what I said is the samskara can be replaced by your habitual mind. This chitta you can place with your, what I can say, the subconscious or the unconscious mind, which is the accumulation of your extreme emotions. So it is very easy actually, to be frank. So most of my clients are foreigners only. We have to make understand, one thing you have to make is that make sure you're feeling what they are feeling, because they'll be like confused which aspects of their mind is disturbing them, which aspects of their mind is pulling them back, either psychologically or physically. So you have to choose that, and you have to give a proper diet for that. For example, some taste of food, it will be working in some states of mind. So more spices will be giving anger, and more oily foods you making more tamas or the lethargic thing. So you have to see whether their mind pattern and how it is affected, either physically or in their routine or in their diet or in the situation. The perception is totally different in different countries, but we what we have is the single mind which is going to function in same way. The name is going to different. What they what I can say express is going to different, but what is happening is the same. They can go with different things, but the matter is same. The nature is one thing.
Yes, that's right. So the next thing is like, what could be the concept to be understood in the mind form, the mind medicine by a BNY student?
Okay, so what? This is a very good question. So this is the, as I said, very neglected part of the, the neglected part more in the brain voice is what I said, the yama and yamas. So these things you can give best asanas, you can give the best diet, you can give the best thing ever treatment what you have give. There are some patients in my personal experience, even I have seen, whatever treatment you give, whatever therapy you give, they'll be like doing the same thing. They'll be not satisfied with whatever treatment you give. However pressure you give in the acupressure or the massage, they'll be having the same thing, they'll be doing the same thing. Okay, fine, sorry. So in these kinds of patients, we have to see the mind-body coordination. For example, there is one person in China called Mantek Chia. So he's more working with the energy medicine and the mind-body coordination, how the energy functions. So it's like complicated things. So to make it simple, you have to follow some kind of energy medicine related things. How the emotion is affecting body. For example, more kind of sadness is going to affect your lungs. So that's why when you see a sad person, he'll be like his lung energy will be affected. And if you see a confident person, which just will be like this, he'll be walking in a great way. So it is helping in the more diagnostic part. So each emotion is connected with the each organs, the vital organs such as liver, stomach, and pancreas, and all the other organs. So it is based on the five elements, the five emotions, the five senses. So you have to see how it is connected. People will be more working on the physical aspect. You have to see which part of emotion is increased so that his organ is getting affected. So you have to diagnose that first. So you give the diet for him. So you give the practice, yoga practice for him, or you give some certain treatment for him. You have to choose which element is affected. So if it is earth element, it will be more rigid, it will be more intense. If it is water element, it's kind of more fear. That's why right. So basically, we have learned this in acupuncture. So water is more related with kidney. So fear brings the urination outside. So this is the emotional things happening in the vital organ. So you have to understand through the diagnosis. So which part of the element is affected? For example, I go with the five elemental diagnosis. It's a very simple diagnosis through which you can connect the mind part also. The first thing is the earth element. The earth element is going inside through the mouth and it is coming outside through the anus. So you have to check whether the appetite, the food digestion is good and the elimination is good. So this is the pathway of the earth element. Okay. The same is the water, your water drinking through the mouth and it is coming through the urinary tract. So you have to check whether the intake, the thirst, all these things are right, the urination is right. Okay. Same way the air, so inhale and exhalation, whether his inhale and exhalation is right, or whether he is having some breathing difficulties, whether inhaling or exhaling. So these are the things. Then coming to the fire part, you have to check his physical activity, how active he is, the fire inside, the active he is, and how much rest he's getting. That is the fire part. If he's engaged in too much activities, the fire will be sent, he'll be more dehydrated. Then coming to the space part, you have to check his sleeping pattern and his dream pattern. So how much time he's sleeping and how much, because the sleep is the space where mind is the space element is getting rested, and it is elimination is happening through dreams. So ultimately, you have to understand one thing: the mind functions only with one law, the law of completion. So this is the main thing. So you're eating because you're getting hunger. When you eat, it is getting completed. You're getting younger. You have to hit someone or say someone. You're getting completed. So all this illusion of mind is working only towards the completeness. Even the body, it can be anything, any desire. Either it can be hunger, sexual thing. All these things are moving towards the completion. Completion is the main thing. So we have to work more on the contemplation of the contentment, all the positive affirmation. What I said, like you have to see your life as a completion, life as a journey, not as a destination. So first thing you have to keep mentally all these things. Then work on these five things what I have said. So if the entry and the exit of all these things are good, he'll be fine. If something is obstructed, for example, he's drinking water, but his urination is not good because some emotion related with the water element. We have two things: fear and the confidence. Sorry, fear and the what I can say, bravery. All this. It is more kind of fear. You can see it is influenced in the water pathway. If it is more rigid, more kind of hard person, introverted person, you can see it in the earth pathway. So he is more kind of agitated or irritated person, you can see it in the fire pathway. So the entry and exit of this element going inside and coming outside of the body is happening in a routine. So we are getting the energy and prana through these five elements, not only with the breathing. So we have to understand that. This body is functioning with all these things. So these five elements, this entry and exit is very important. You can diagnose the mind part which is connected with this element and work on it. Either you can do the opposite emotion. What I said is either you can go with positive affirmation or either you can go with self-realization technique. So why you're getting angry, you can go for counseling. So that gives him a clear clarity. Once the clarity is happening in the mind, you can see the immediate effect in the physical part.
Thank you, sir, for answering this question. So, one final question. Sir,
Yeah.
how you can take yourself updated in this information era, and who is your inspiration to take you forward, as always, sir?
Okay. Actually, I have so many gurus. My aspect is that I always want to combine the ancient teaching with the modern teaching, so that the classical things is not getting what I can say polluted, and also we have to get updated along with the modern medicine. So we can see a mini modern medicine are evolving in the field of quantum physics, and still we are going for all this metaphysical, all these things. The instrumentation has to be developed in this field so that we can provide some physical data. So like what we have in the blood report and all these reports, we should cultivate some kind of instrumentation through which all these data can be quantified. Because still now we are not having any kind of physical data for all these mind aspects. So we have to see through that we can see the improvement only through behavior, all these things. So this is how we have to evolve from this mind body medicine. So as far as my inspiration, what I can say, I have many. Kind of my inspiration is always our yogis only, because I always admire how deep they have went inside. So we are externalizing all the search outside. They have just done it inside, and by moving that single atom inside them, they can move anything in this world. So by studying one single atom, if we have to know the whole universe, we have to do nothing, because this whole body came from a single dot, right? So understanding that single dot, you can understand everything. They used to say, right? If you understand yourself, you know everything. So I used to wonder what is all about. But when you go in that state and do any clinical practice, you can do wonders. So that's how they have diagnosed. They don't have any reports. They don't have anything. Just by seeing one person, the way he walks, the way he comes, they can see the five elemental things through their eyes or through their intuition, and they will diagnose and give the simple treatment. Then and there itself. Either it can be in a medical emergency. They have worked. It's like if you go through the classical text, you can learn a lot more. what I say is that everyone has to take any classical text, either yoga or any kind of thing, work on that, upgrade it. No need to say it is outdated, it is a pseudoscience, or it's a kind of they are not updated to till date. See, the first when the electron was discovered, when J.J. Thomson, he said the electron is like the seeds in the watermelon, right?
Yes.
Then we have developed all these things, and slowly we have come to the Bohr's model. It is having some shells, all these. We cannot blame J.J. Thomson for that. From there, we evolved here, and now this all this basic Bohr model is getting smashed when we enter into the quantum physics. The way the atoms and the electrons behaves in quantum physics is totally different.
Totally
So
different,
this
sir.
is how it functions. So what I said is that the mind plays a major important, right? You know the double slit experiment in the quantum physics. So when you see it, it is behaving in a particle way. When you're not seeing it, it is behaving in a wave nature. You know that, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
everyone
Yes.
is aware of that very basic experiment. So from that, we have learned that the person who sees is influencing the particle. So this is the famous philosophy. It is widely used in all tradition. What you see, you become, and how you see, you become. Not only you become, it also becomes. If you are having some strong emotion, you're going to some person who is going to scold you. That data will go inside his cells. He'll begin the way what you have produced outside. You have broadcasted from your mind. So you are deciding his behavior. Same if you're very chill, he's not going to influence you. So you are influencing him. So these things are told in a very simple way, very kind of very practical way, which can be practiced. But today we have complicated more with all scientific terms and all these things, and we forgot to practice. Very sorry to say, one of my kind of student who was doing kind of more research papers and all these things in pranayama, Kapalabhati, and he died out of some breathing difficulty. So then, what's the essence of doing all these things instead of practicing? Don't wait for the papers. Don't wait for the confirmations. We can do research all this, but practice for yourself. Practice for yourself. Then only you can teach it to patient. The problem here is that with the consultant. The problem here is with the teacher. What I said, they are not having any experience. They just learn the theory. They don't know what's happening. All the yogicans, what they think, is just a fantasy. They never experienced that. Once they have experienced, they have that intensity to tell their patients. So see, since as yoga practitioner, yoga national practitioner, we have to practice more deeply these practices. Only then we can apply to the patients. The nature itself will say. Those days our yogis did not do any trial and error. You have to understand. They have what I can say discovered so many herbs and so many diseases, and also the what I can the medicine for the disease. It is not done in a trial and error method. It is their understanding about what I say the single thing, that is the cell, which will show you everything. So when you see the element, it will show you this is connected to this is connected to do it in this way. So they are connected with the superconscious mind, which is the creation of this world and all these things. So you don't have to learn everything. Just connect yourself with Supreme. It will take care of yourself. So it can be happen only through own experience, not by theory, not by the hearing speech of any monks or any Dadiwalas. It is a pure self experience. Don't cheat yourself by just reading or just conceptualization any experience. Experience by yourself. Then you put the practice. The patient will also experience the same.
Thank you, sir, for your thoughtful words. I hope it reaches out to everyone over there. And
Okay.
thank you so much, sir, for the today's session.
Thank you. Hope everyone find it useful. Thank you.
Yes.